All right, so Serena Temple and her friend who I later found out was her I think her sister-in-law. She's drawn in, so I'm like, excellent. I keep going with the story, but I start getting harassed by by management and security and stuff like that, who's like upset that we're like breaking up the flow of the party, because it's supposed to be like mingling, but mingling while you're looking at art exhibits and moving physically. So it's like Serena Temple, she throws her weight around a little bit. It's like, he's with me, just give us 20 minutes. And the initial people, the security people, are like, hey man, that's cool. But the management comes by later and is like, yeah, 20 minutes isn't a thing. We need people to move. Then that fucking bitch, Hathaway, she comes back and she's trying to get like everybody thrown out the party, because before I started my story, some of the people were like talking shit to her daughter and just talking about like, hey ass man, don't deal with this woman, she's this evil bitch and everything like that. And evidently a lot of people in this community don't fuck with her. So she comes back with security, these 4 dudes that are kind of almost like these like, they're like weird statue men made of like these weird materials. Each one of them is like about 7 feet tall, with the exception of one who's he's roughly about around my height, a little shorter. But they all sense like 4s. So it's like, oh, okay, shit just got serious. So one of them slinks over to me, throws his arm around me. He's like, hey, so you like to tell stories? I'm like, listen, bro, like it's not like that. We're just, we weren't trying to disturb anything. And we're moving, so like we're gonna move over to the main hall anyway. He's like, no, you're leaving. So we're going back and forth, and I'm trying to convince him, like, listen, man, if somebody's got to go down for this, just kick me out. Don't ruin things for these people. And Hathaway said, no, fuck them. Everybody goes. So we get led into this room, and when we get into the room, all these gates slam down and trap us in. So the dudes around me, the statue dudes, they're looking around like, oh shit, like they're they seem confused, and I'm feeding off that, because at first I thought they were maybe taking us to some kind of weird holding cell. I didn't think that was the case, but I couldn't just immediately rule it out until I saw them looking around like, what's going on? So what I noticed about them is that I guess they might, it's weird, like they might be like that woman's personal security or something like that, but at the same time they still had the authority to throw you out the party. The reason I say that is because they seem to only respond to Hathaway and like her prompts, her movements, and her demands and stuff like that. And it was interesting because they didn't seem to act independently of her at all. So that was just weird. But needless to say, the information I'm supposed to be getting from Serena is about this terrorist group called the New Earth Order. And, she might have some information in her communications files, because she runs her communications network. But it turns out the New Earth Order is attacking this gala right now. They seem to be like, these kind of people who are like, like the type of revolutionaries who are like, down with the upper class, kind of like, Catwoman from Dark Knight Rises, your whole like, you've kind of danced on top of our heads for long enough. It's time to take things back. At least that was the rhetoric. They had us surrounded with these different screens, both that were tangible and intangible, that were kind of harassing people. The big dudes are kind of like going crazy, trying to swing at them and stuff like that. And eventually, they rip one of the gates off and pour out the room. We leave too, and people are pouring out of the room, and they're cutting themselves on some of the twisted bars that the big guys got through. I'm protecting them, like cushioning them as they're moving through, and I'm ushering people out the room to be the last person out, just in case anything happens. I do get scanned by one of those monitors, and I blow that shit up. And then I go out into the hall. I see, oh, that's weird. I go out in the hall. I see Serena Temple and her person, and we'll stop right there.